All footage used in this video belong to the copyright owners. I do not own nor claim to own any of the footage used. It is only used to help illustrate my commentary, therefore it falls within my legal rights to use as fair use.
But when that light hits the sky, it's not just a call. It's a warning.
Welcome to my first official video. Today we are going to be starting my character analysis series. If you're new or if you forgot, my character analysis series will be doing deep dives into characters' origins, adaptations, and how they fit within my spin-off of the Batman universe. And with the starting of my new timeline and Gordon's story, I felt like it was appropriate for me to start this series with Gordon himself.
Underneath the bridge, top has sprung a leak, and the animals I've trapped have all become my pets, and I'm living off of grass.
But let's start with his comic origins. James Gordon, or Jim Gordon for short, was created by Bill Finger and first appeared in Eccentric Comics number 27 in May of 1939 as the police commissioner. This also happens to be the first appearance of Batman himself. In this version, Gordon wishes he could get his hands on Batman because he sees him as the worst type of criminal of all, a vigilante.
Catching the criminals that you let walk free.
He is the worst kind of criminal. The kind who thinks their actions are justified. Who acts completely outside the system.
The system is broken.
Gordon also didn't like Batman's method of tracking down criminals and torturing them into giving them information. And also, in this version of Batman, he had no problem with using guns, or sometimes committing murder. This was the golden age before Batman had a no-kill rule or guns rule. However, Gordon would somehow eventually talk it out with Batman, and would even make Batman an honorary member of the Gotham City Police Department. This would remain for about 45 years, as in 1985, there is a storyline called Crisis on Infinite Earths, a story that would destroy the entire multiverse to create one new Earth. So basically, a reboot. In this new Earth, every character's past were rewritten, including Gordon's. During Frank Miller's Batman Year 1, Gordon was reintroduced as a rookie cop and has just been transferred to Gotham after spending pretty much his whole life in Chicago. In this story, he's an honest man, and it doesn't take him very long to figure out that the chief PD is corrupt. As Jim tries to deal with the corruption and with trying to provide for his pregnant wife, Gordon is put on a special task force to hunt down the vigilante known as the Batman. The reason for this is because the Batman had recently attacked and terrified all of the city's crime bosses.
What the hell's going on?
The lights! What happened to the lights?
Ladies, gentlemen, you've eaten well. You've eaten Gotham's wealth, its spirit, but your feast is nearly over. From this moment on, none of you are safe.
But Gordon is too good of a cop to bring the Batman in.
He's a criminal. I'm a cop. It's as simple as that. But I'm a cop in a city that uses its cops like hired killers. He saved that old woman. He saved those 2 cops. What the hell am I doing?
So naturally, the mom decides to kidnap Gordon's son and force him into being dirty by threatening to kill his son. But luckily for Gordon, a disguised Batman jumps in and saves the boy, and by the end of the story, Gordon is promoted to lieutenant and is shown to be secretly working with Batman as they start their first investigation together on a freak named the Joker. Gordon's been through a lot of changes over the years, but there's one change that stands out the most to me, and that would be in Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins, where it was shown that Gordon was the only one within the GCPD who actually cared enough to ask how Bruce was doing, as this was after his parents' murder. I really like this concept. This idea was so well received that even Rocksteady would end up doing it in their Arkham games.
You know, you see a lot in this job, a lot of pain, a lot of suffering. But I'll never forget taking a witness statement from an 8-year-old boy who'd just seen his parents gunned down.
So if you were to ask me what my favorite Gordon is, I would have to say Jeffrey Wright's Gordon in Matt Reeves' The Batman. He says, looks, sounds, and acts exactly like Gordon does in the comics. Even though Matt Reeves did change Gordon's ethnic background, it didn't make that the entire point of his character. Gordon is still the morally bound detective who's always focused on the task at hand, but he's not afraid to show some emotion.
No guns. Yeah, man, that's your thing.
He clearly doesn't show as much emotion as Bruce does.
Vengeance.
This was, again, very much inspired from the partnership that they had in Frank Miller's Year One. Gordon in that story was a very human character. He was imperfect. I really wanted a character who had an innate goodness, but was swimming against a tide of corruption.
Gordon, as this kind of overwhelmed everyman, reaches out to Batman out of a sense that he's a capable figure. And he's also, I think, what I've discovered in playing this, he is one of his biggest fans.
You know, Jeffrey is very funny, and he's got great charisma as well. He's an amazing actor. He was not at all afraid, and we talked about this a lot, to have egg on his face.
In the face.
They had a very unique kind of rapport, and it was, in that sense, like a buddy comedy.
There's a confidence Jeffrey has. There's like a humor in what he's doing that I think is slightly different.
He's just trying to do his best, aspiring towards some type of justice, but he's not nearly there. And, you know, whether he has the capacity to be there is another thing, but he's at least, trying.
Like Matt Reeves said, Batman and Gordon are a duo almost like police partners, and we get a full understanding of their relationship in their first scene together. We start with a POV shot as we follow Gordon to the crime scene of the freshly murdered mayor. The camera cuts and shows that we've been looking through the eyes of Batman. This scene is excellent because Batman quickly realizes no one within the mayor's home likes him except for Gordon, and the tensions are very high. So instead of speaking to the crime scene photographers, for example, Batman gets their attention by looking at the floor, where the indentation of Riddler's murder weapon is, knowing that one of them will wonder what he's looking at, so they will take a photo for the GCPD's benefit. Batman chooses not to speak, chooses not to escalate the situation. This also shows that Batman has some respect for the law, as he doesn't take any evidence from the crime scenes throughout the entire almost 3-hour movie, as he records everything on his high-tech contact lenses. The other officers treat Gordon like a nutjob, because he's friends with the man who dresses up like a giant bat and beats up criminals in the streets. Another thing about this scene is that Gordon's not afraid to put his job on the line for Batman, a man he's only known for roughly 2 years. Gordon keeps his cool and defends his choice to let a vigilante into the mayor's crime scene, even when being yelled at by the commissioner.
What's going on here?
I asked him to come, Pete.
This is a crime scene. It's Mitchell, for Christ's sakes. I got the press downstairs. You know, I cut you a lot of slack, Jim, because we got history, but this is way over the line. Wait, he's involved in this?
No, he's not involved.
How do you know? He's a goddamn vigilante. He could be a suspect. What are you doing to me? We used to be partners.
I'm just trying to find the connection, Pete.
He lies still.
Excuse me?
The riddle. What does a liar do when he's dead? He lies still.
Oh, Jesus. This must be your favorite night of the year, huh, pal? Happy Halloween.
Excuse me, Commissioner. They're ready for your statement.
I want him out of here. Now!
The commissioner here makes a very good point, as Batman is a vigilante that works outside of the law, and yet all of a sudden a serial killer starts writing letters to said vigilante. For all they know, Batman could be an accomplice. And that's one of the best aspects of this film. Matt Reeves does a very good job of painting the GCPD as the most unlikable people in Gotham. Another scene that shows both how unlikable the GCPD is and how much Gordon trusts Batman is the scene after Batman gets knocked out by Riddler's bomb, which sadly killed the DA. Batman is woken up in the Q3 to this.
Let's just take it out.
Hey! Relax, goddammit!
What I find very interesting here is that Gordon is the one who doesn't let them take off the mask. This just shows how much respect he has for Batman, unlike his fellow officers.
You son of a bitch. You have any idea what kind of trouble you're in? You could be an accessory to murder.
Who are you playing,
I love the tension between the Chief and Batman here. Robert Pattinson does a very good job as a young Batman who deeply hates cops, and Gordon is the one who has to step in between the Chief and Batman.
You two now.
That line from Batman sounds so genuine, almost like he's been personally attacked. But not even 20 seconds later, it's revealed that it's a fake argument.
We gotta get you out of here.
I'll put a lot of heat on you.
Well, you punched me in the face.
And I love how Batman punches Gordon to make sure he comes out clean of the situation, and risking his own life in the process. This is just pure Batman.
Could have at least pulled that punch, man.
I did.
Bob put out an APB on you. You really think he's in on this?
I don't trust any of them. Do you?
I only trust you.
Another thing about this Gordon is that she knows Batman on a very deep level. They've known each other for 2 years, and yet they act like they've known each other longer than. I would like to believe that's because Gordon was there for Bruce on that night. let's get into my favorite scene in this whole movie. After Bruce is hit with shotgun blasts, he's severely injured. He can't move. And yes, he is wearing bulletproof armor, but even with armor, getting shot still hurts. Bruce probably has a couple of broken ribs and maybe a collapsed lung, as Selena acts like Batman's going to die.
It's okay. It's done now. It's done.
This causes Batman desperately trying to get up, but he can't. He can't save the girl. He can't save the one who's fallen along for throughout the movie. But no, he's persistent. He ejects himself and then loses control. Gordon was the only one to stop him. He knows Batman's code, and it's just such brilliant writing from Matt Reeves, as Bruce is still figuring out what Batman is meant to be, and the fact that he could have broken his one rule this early in his career as Batman, but he doesn't, because Gordon, his friend, his partner, his most important ally, knows him more than anyone. Except for maybe Alfred.
Shall I take this as a good sign?
What?
Your attire. Is Bruce Wayne making an actual appearance?
Hey everyone, I hope you liked the video, and stay tuned for my comic. It'll probably be done by the end of this week. I say probably, I can't make no guarantees. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
I never cared who you were. And you were right. But shouldn't the people know the hero who saved them?
A hero can be anyone, even a man doing something as simple and reassuring as putting a coat around a young boy's shoulders to let him know the world hadn't ended.
Bruce Wayne.